It's Sue here from the Unicorn Advisory, your online course creation and Kajabi expert, the Kajabi nerd that you always want to have on your side. Today, I'm going to show you something that is pretty cool. It's not something that I've used recently, but I have used it in the past, and I've helped a few clients get this set up. And that is using Kajabi to run an Evergreen webinar. Now, it's not the most perfect way to run an Evergreen webinar. There are some other systems that I like to use, especially if I'm using ads in order to promote the webinar and spending money on sending traffic to the site. But it's expensive and complicated to integrate some of those other systems. So using Kajabi's inbuilt Evergreen webinar system is a really great idea if you are having a lot of organic traffic come to your site, and if you just want to have a webinar or have some kind of training or information available all the time, so that when people come to your site, maybe they read your blog or they land on your website due to your awesome SEO, maybe you've sent them there from social media, etc., that you have something that people can opt into and that they can watch pretty much immediately. So I'm going to take you through how to do that. So maybe you might want to set up a free training on your site using the Kajabi Evergreen webinar function. So let's jump into it, and I'm going to go through this setting up with you. Now, I haven't done this for a while, so fingers crossed I'm going to be able to get everything right. I reckon it's probably been more than a year since I've done this, so forgive me if I get any steps a little bit mixed up, but this is a good thing. The pipeline sets everything up for you. Now, personally, as a Kajabi nerd, I don't tend to use pipelines much anymore for my funnels, because I like to map out everything that I want in the funnel and then just create it. When you're first getting started, these pipelines are a godsend. When you're a nerd like me, you know what's got to go into a funnel, but when you're first starting, you're like, I don't know what goes in there. What do I do? And these can help map that out for you and create all of the different assets, and importantly, link it all up together so that you know it works. In saying that, though, the Evergreen webinar pipeline is pretty awesome, the way that it sets it all up for you. And that is something that it would take me longer to replicate that than using the pipeline. So I vote to use the pipeline. Now, you can use this Zoom webinar. If you are doing a webinar on Zoom, this is going to create all of this information for you: a registration page, a confirmation page, emails, event, more emails afterwards, sales page, checkout. So this is kind of like your traditional live webinar. And on the confirmation and in the emails, it's actually going to send people your webinar link that you create in Zoom. So the webinar is still going to be hosted in Zoom. Kajabi's just going to handle the registrations. So if you are doing something live and you're doing it in Zoom, even if you're actually doing it on a different webinar platform where you have a link, you can use this Zoom webinar pipeline for the same thing. So that is helpful. However, to run an evergreen one where it's running repeatedly, you can do it every 5 minutes on Kajabi, which is pretty cool. If you come all the way down here to legacy pipelines. So these are the older pipelines. They are done on the old Premier pages in Kajabi. So the editing will be a little bit different, but this one here, this webinar, so helpful. It sets up everything that you need. So I'm going to cross my fingers and toes, because like I said, I haven't set it up for about a year, that I'm going to get it right, and we can go through it. So we're going to call this webinar, let's call it Sue's Awesome Webinar. This is a pre-recorded webinar. So I've just got a little sample video that I'm going to put it on there so that you can see what that is like. It does suggest for you to do a live webinar by embedding a YouTube live video. That is something that you can do, whole other level of complication. So let's just stick with pre-recorded and go from there. And maybe on another training, we can look at doing live webinars. So we're going to start it. No, we're not going to start it at 2 o'clock. Oh, October. We probably don't need to start in October. We might start it though. We might start this. Why not? Oops. Just going to cover that up. We might start this on Monday morning at 9:05 a.m. That might be, so we'll do 9:00 a.m. And we're going to say that is in Sydney time zone. And we're actually going to choose an offer to sell. So we might do our annual membership offer, as we've already set that up in another training. So this pipeline is going to create all of the assets we need. And this is why I love this Evergreen webinar pipeline. Obviously, I'm not going to go through how to, update it and the copy and all that kind of stuff. So you'll still need to write your emails. You'll still need to create your actual webinar video, and you'll still need to update your pages. But this is actually going to create all of the individual assets that you need in order to be able to have that webinar registration, and then set that up, have the actual webinar playing, and the reminders and all the information that's going to go out to the people who register for the webinar. The form is going to be created to capture their email address so you can send them information, and then your actual sales page is going to show at the end so someone can actually go and purchase. So the idea being that this can work 24/7. You don't need to be there to present your information. And it's a great way for two reasons. Firstly, is if you have a product that you would like to sell. If you have something where, you think it would be really beneficial for someone to watch a bit of a information video about it first, if you want to go through that full webinar process, if it is a higher ticket, having this available so someone can watch through and then be presented with the sales information can be a really great way to increase conversions and get more sales, rather than just putting a sales page for your course on your site. What it's also really helpful for, if you don't have anything to sell yet, you can create a webinar just for informational purposes and put an email address sign up on it so that someone can sign up for the webinar. It can help you grow your email list without having to create a freebie. So you could create a short training and be like, hey, watch the masterclass on XYZ topic. This one, I think that it sets up automatically, says creating passive income through online courses. So we're just going to call it that from now on. So you could create this class, put this class on your site, have the registration there, and be collecting emails and be getting people to the point where they know, like, and trust you. So I'm not gonna go on and on about webinars, but it is a really helpful way to grow your list and to potentially make sales. So we've got our pipeline. It's created all of the different things that we need, which is super cool. So we have our registration page. Then that has got a form on it, and that is then signing someone. When someone completes that form, then they are going to be registered to the event. And I'm going to change this event in a sec. So it's going to run every 1 hour. So every hour it's going to run. You can make it run as little as 15 minutes. I have had trouble with it being every 15 minutes. Sometimes every 45 minutes or every hour can work a little bit better. Just because if someone's in the middle of seeing a webinar, sometimes when they refresh the screen, if it's the 15 minutes, then it sends them back to the beginning again. And there isn't any play button controls on this. So I like to do it every 45 minutes or hour, but I'll show you how to do that. So it's created the event, which has got all of the reminder and the follow-up emails in it, which is super cool. It's also got the confirmation page that someone will see as soon as they have registered, and then the actual webinar room page, which is where you load up your video. And as the webinar goes through, it steps through different sections. So it's going to give a waiting room, then the actual webinar playroom, and then it will show your sales, like what to do at the end of it. Then we have a sales page for selling your product, and included through to our checkout for the offer that we are selling, our annual membership product that we already set up earlier. And just because this annual membership has then got an upsell email sequence into another product, that is also added as well. And that has appeared because we have this set as an automation that when someone signs up to this annual membership, then we have this upsell email sequence to sell them into another product. But that we set up earlier. So that's not part of this. It's just because we'd already set this offer up like that. So let's go through the different pages and I can show you how to set it up for yourself. So registration page, that's pretty straightforward. Obviously, you'll need to update it and put your information in there. And so this is just, saying what it is, reserve my spot. This, when you have got this set up and linked to the event, is going to automatically put the time in there. Now, when we go into, so you can just fill this in, it's just, learn how to do this, this, and this, tell them a bit more. You can put a little bit of information about yourself, sign up for the webinar today. When they click on to reserve my spot, that is going to take them through to, where is it going to take them through to? Reserve my spot, go to two-step opt-in. It's going to fill out the form for this registration for this. Now we're going to turn this to repeat on. So we're going to repeat this to every 1 hour. So you can do it, the shortest amount of time you can do it is 15 minutes. But if we do it every 1 hour, I think that's a nice amount of time. So if we do it, say, every 3 hours, then I would leave this starting in 60 minutes email in there. But if you're doing it every 1 hour, I would take it out or just choose one of these. So it's already got set up. So at the time of registration, when someone registers for your webinar, then it is going to, say, hey, here is the details. Now, these special links in here and this event date and time, this I would recommend you need to leave in there, as well as this link. So all the rest of it there you can change, but these parts here, this is the information that is automatically created. This is the web page that's automatically created, and this will show the date and time when you preview it. So I'll show you what that looks like in a preview. So it's going to say this is the time and this will be the link. Now you could get that link and make it look a little bit special if you wanted to, perhaps turn it into a button, but we're just going to leave this one like this for now. So this is all working. So you'll want to say what you are covering in your training, and you can use this as a bit of a guide of what to include when someone is registered. Then there's a couple of reminders. So these reminders are really helpful if you are doing that longer period of time between the registration periods. So you can be like, yeah, we're going to be starting this in an hour, and this will give you some ideas. And this part here is probably more set up for a live webinar, but it does have this, in it as well. Personally, for an Evergreen, I just have the registration and then 15 minutes. So if they've registered and it's less than 15 minutes to go, then this one isn't going to get sent out. So, so that is helpful. All right, so you can say we're just about to start. Not sure if I'd say roll the cameras. If it's an Evergreen webinar, you can say, the recorded session is about to start, something like that. And please excuse the very noisy trucks in the background. There's been concrete trucks in our street all day. All right, so you've got, a bit of general kind of advice about what you can put in it. And then afterwards, there's just one email to go out afterwards. Personally, I think you could send 2 or 3, maybe even sort of 4 or 5 if you felt brave enough to. But you can, especially if you are selling something, if you just wanted people to come onto your list, then you can just be like, hey, thanks so much for coming, etc. But if you are wanting to sell a program, then you can do some extra follow-ups. But this is just going to give you one, and it's going to actually, this link here is going to go through to the sales page that was created as part of the pipeline. So this is why I really like doing the pipeline, because everything links to the right place. You don't need to find links. It's all set up. It's all, exactly how it should be. So, so it can be really helpful having that if you don't know what to do and how to set it up. So that is the event part of the webinar. So this registration page, what you can do is you can direct people to that registration page. So you can actually go into the pipeline and give out the pipeline link, or you can actually go into the details of this page, change the URL. So instead of having this, crazy long page, you can call it webinar or something like that. And this is what you can link to on your social media. This is the page you can link to from your homepage. If you say, hey, take the free training, etc., etc. So we're going to call this Sue's awesome webinar registration page. You can put some SEO information in here. Ideally, you do want this registration page to be found. So, a little bit of information about what your training or webinar is about. And that way, then, this is the link that you give out for this registration page. Everything else, it's already been taken. We will call it free webinar. I've obviously already set up a page called webinar. So we'll call it free webinar. Generally, when you are creating URLs that you, has free webinar been taken? Oh my gosh. We might just call it class then. So when you are creating URLs where you're going to say the name of the URL or you're going to give it out, I try and keep it really simple in this part. Definitely don't be like free dash masterclass dash topic and have it really long, because the shorter it is, the easier it is to say that. And if you are putting that link into anywhere and you're giving the link out, the shorter and clearer the better, the more easy it is to remember for you as well. So you can call it like mywebsite.com/free class webinar guide, whatever it is that's relevant and nice and short and tight, so it's easy for you to say. All right, so that's the page. It's on the registration page. So we've got the URL for that now. So obviously we would update the content and make it relevant, change the pictures, change it to your branding, etc. We've had a look at this webinar, and we haven't yet, but we would go and update the emails with the appropriate information. We are going to save this to be an evergreen webinar that is going to go every 1 hour. And we are going to, what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this one. I'm going to delete this 15-minute before one. And we're just going to have the registration, and we're going to change this 60-minute one to be, because it says access link inside. So we don't need both of them sort of saying the same thing. So we're going to change this to go out. We're going to change this one to go out to start. All right, so that's our webinar event set up. Once we would, do the copy, make sure it's relevant, and then we're going to come and have a look at our confirmation page. So in the background, no one sees this. This is kind of internal thing that's happening, behind the scenes. When someone registers, they are going to be taken to this thank you confirmation page. So the registration will happen, they'll sign up, and then it will be like, hey, here is the details. You are now registered. So I would probably highlight, check your email for the link. I wouldn't say information for the, see, I've fallen into bad habits for the 20 years of working online, and sometimes I still go to do it on the page. Check your email for the link to access the webinar. And I probably wouldn't, in an evergreen one, say be sure to add this event to your calendar, because they're going to be doing it, within the next 60 minutes. And I would just say, can't wait to see you soon. And you can choose how you would like the date to be formatted, whether you just want it to say, to have the time, whether you want the time zone. If you are working in an environment where you have people from different countries, I 100% would put that time zone on there. So, you can choose how you would like that to display. It's going to automatically pull that information from your event. And now that we've set it up as an evergreen, as a repeating event, as soon as one event finishes, then it's going to just go through to the next one. So you can put whatever information you would like in there, change your branding, colors, etc. You could put a little welcome video like, oh my gosh, can't wait to see you in the class soon, something like that. Just a little reminder to people why they start up and why it's going to be awesome. So I'd keep that one pretty short, probably 30 seconds. That could be an opportunity where you're like, all right, you're going to be sent the link to this free class in your email. It will be playing live, so make sure that you go and grab that link and jump into the online classroom, and I'll see you soon. Something along those lines. Okay, so this one, I don't think we need any of that. I think that's all fine. So just as long as you're making sure that they go and get that link to access the webinar, because it's not going to be included on here. Okay, so, and that's also going to get them into the habit of checking their email and clicking, which is going to be very advantageous. So you can put a title in here as well. or whatever you would like to put in here. You've got your little description box, etc. So that's the confirmation page that is going to appear after someone registers. So now the next page that we're going to look at is the actual webinar page. Oops, we want to save that. Assuming we've put something helpful, and if you don't want to put a video on, I would just hide this whole section and just leave it like a simple confirmation. Okay, so next is the webinar room. So this is really cool and really helpful the way Kajabi sets this up. Okay, so you can change this, make it look pretty, etc. But it's going to have 3 sections on the page. So what shows before the event, and this is going to say when this training will start. So this is when someone clicks on the link in that email, it's going to take them to this. So it's going to give a countdown until the training starts. Then when that time has passed and when it's time, the screen is going to automatically update and say, click below to join the live training. And when someone clicks and they enter into the training room, that is where your actual video is going to play. So you'll go and add your event video in. So you can, again, format this and make it look however you like. But this automatically, so when that gets to 0, then that's going to disappear. And this screen here is going to show. And then when someone clicks into the training room, then it's going to take them in where your video will be playing. Now, it will be playing as if it is a live webinar. So whatever time your event is set to start, that is when the video starts playing. So if someone doesn't come in until 10 minutes in, then that's, it's going to be just how it is. It's set up as if it was a live webinar. So that is something to consider. And then as soon as the webinar training has finished, then there's another screen going to come up. And this is where you can be like, hey, I hope you enjoyed it. Here's your next steps. Go and join blah, blah course. If you're just doing it for list building, you can maybe direct to your socials, a Facebook group, helpful blog posts or YouTube videos, like whatever you have that you would like to direct people to. So in order to, to update any of these sections, as per any area in Kajabi, you can just hover around it and it's going to open up the area that you want. So you can come into this here. This heading and subheading, this is the older style of Kajabi Premier pages. So you can use that if you want, or you can just use this text box as this has been put in here. You can, change the appearance, do a different color in the background. Maybe you might want to, let's do something really bold. Whoa, cool. Let's stick with that. That's fun. But you know what I mean? Like style it, make it how you want. You can play around with this. You can put a background image in, all those things. And then as you go down, so this is the event video. So we've got this event that's going to find that video and play that. And then before the event, this is what is going to come up. So this is where the time is going to pick from. And this is your text here. So you can put this text in and you can choose, how you would like for that wording to be displayed. You can choose an image to go in the background and, do that color overlay if you want to. Let's go with our cool blue color if I can make it happen again. Instead of I think it's probably around there. Yes. Okay. All right. So we've got our color sort of matching, close enough. And then we've got the join event. So this is when the event starts. So again, you can customize this and, choose the text that you want to put in there. It's not quite as customizable as different Kajabi blocks, but, you've got a little bit of customization. You can change the background color, text color. You can put text. You just can't put images in, but you can use emojis. So don't feel shy about using emojis. And you've got your button, text, and information. You can obviously update the color of your button. And then during the event, so this is the actual video that you want. So I'm just going to upload a random video file for you so we can see how this works. And let's see what we've got in here. Let's just do this one. It's just a nice short one, so it should, fingers crossed, upload really quickly. Please upload quickly. I know that means I'm going to have to sing. Oh, Come on, go faster, Kajabi, so I don't have to sing. Oh dear, going through this actually reminds me that, you know, it's one of those things where um, using this webinar is a great way to take imperfect action, because even if you just do a really simple and easy kind of, you know, training that you can just do face to camera, you could even just do a few slides. You could do a little tour of your product. If you are selling a course or a membership, you could have that as a way someone could get access to it. There's, you know, lots of things that you could use this for, and it is just so helpful having that kind of 24/7 salesperson on your behalf, because there is a little bit of work to setting this up, but once it's done, it is done. And you know, anyone is going to be able to come and register for that at any time. So you know, every time that you are doing posts on social, instead of just doing posts and, you know, they be very nice, you can direct people to your free training. You know, give people an option to learn more about you, get to know you, do this free training, etc. All right, so we've loaded up our video and video actions. We can get stats on this later. We can add closed captions, SRT file, if we do want to as well, which is really helpful. You can either burn the captions into the video, and I'm going to be doing a simple video editing workshop in a couple of weeks, showing you how that you can edit videos using Descript, which honestly is the coolest and easiest to use video editing tool I have ever come across. So that is on in a couple of weeks. You can go to our website from tomorrow, I think, or go to my Facebook profile. You'll be able to get a link to register for that workshop. And I'll show you how you can have the option of burning the captions to the video. So that means your captions are permanently on the video, or in Kajabi, you can actually load up an SRT file to have closed captions, which gives people the option to turn it on and off. So I'll show you how to do both. Okay, so we've got our video in here, and then we've got the after. So thanks for watching. Here are your next steps. So we might change and make this our bold blue color. Yes, so nice. Wow, okay, that is not a nice place for that video to stop. Okay, so we've got this here. We've got thanks for watching. So again, you can't add a whole lot of graphics into these sections, but it's designed for you to keep it simple. So you know, you can put emojis in, and you know, you can put some information. You can be like, you know, I hope you really love this. If you want to find more about BU, like if that was me, I would be like talking about BU or BU Empower, and you would like to know how to join or get some more information, click here and you'll be able to claim your special offer if you are doing a special offer or something like that. So yeah, so that's as simple as it is. So you can go and load that up, and yeah, that is going to work automatically. So when someone sees this page, I'm going to show you what they see. When they will click on the link. So this page here, I would not go into your details and update the URL for this page, because the URL for this page has already been added into your confirmation email. So if you change it and someone clicks on the link, then they're not going to be able to access this kind of webinar environment that has been set up. And pretty sure you don't want that. So in that situation, just leave the URL. Don't go into details. Don't change anything. You don't want this page to be found on Google. So you can leave it as it is with the, you know, weird numbery URL. So when we go into it, we're going to see it's webinar room and all this kind of random numbers afterwards. So what's going to happen is when you start, this is what's going to come up. So whatever image you've got behind, and free training will begin shortly. Now it's not going to start, so I'm going to see if I can change it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to change it. I'll try. But this is going to count down, and as soon as it gets to 0, this screen will change, and the screen is going to change into this. Welcome, click below to join the live training. So, you know, you can carry on this beautiful color thing if you wanted to, and then someone can click to go into the training room. And when they go into the training room, this is what they are going to see. Hopefully not my mouth going, ah! but then that is what is going to show during the event. So it's going to go to this, they're going to click, then they're going to come to the video that you have set up. And then as soon as that video finishes, then it's going to come here. So if you have talked about a program, if you've talked about come and join me in my Facebook group or whatever it is that you have mentioned in your video, then someone can click on that and go through. So you can control what you want on this actual button here. Now, because we set up a sales page back at the beginning, this is set up to go to the next pipeline step. So the next pipeline step for us is to go to the sales page that we created in this pipeline. Now, if you did not have a sales page in the pipeline, you can then choose the action for this call to action. So you can send someone to a Facebook group. You can send them to a checkout if you don't have a sales page. If you have a different sales page that's not in the pipeline, then you can, make that button go through to wherever you would like it to go through. But because this pipeline feature is super helpful, it's gone and created a sales page for us. So we just would need to go in and update that sales page, which we are going to do now. So the next page in our little pipeline is our sales page. If you already have a sales page made, you can actually swap this one out and bring in a new sales page if you've already got that made. And I'll show you how to do that at the end. But yeah, this is just going to, create a page, a simple page that you can use. You can put your information in there, and it's pretty much set up similar to this registration page. It's a very, very simple. So that's where if you've got a template or you've got a page that you've created elsewhere, then you can bring that in. Or if you have no sales page, then hey, start with this one. I would definitely, I'm hoping this call to action, this call to action is set up to go to the next pipeline step, which is the checkout. So if someone clicks on this call to action, I will show you what happens. So they'll go from the webinar room when that finishes with a button saying, hey, grab your, offer, which is going to come to our sales page, and the call to action on this page will go through to our offer. Hurrah! This is going through to the checkout and offer that we set up a couple of days ago with our order bump on there, and this is selling the membership. So all set up as it should, and that's the thing that's really helpful about the pipelines. You don't need to think about, you don't need to worry, how do I connect this to that and all that kind of stuff. It does it for you. So you will need to create the actual offer. But if you go back and find, just search offer or search checkout in the Facebook group, you should be able to find that training, or just sing out, let me know, and I can tag you and direct you to that. If you're in Unicorn Heroes or Kajabi 101 Quick Start, there is training on setting up offers as well. So that offer was done. We added that at the beginning. It said, what offer would you like to sell? So we set that and chose that offer. So it's added it in there. So it's very cool that that will work like that. If you bring your own sales page in that you have created already, you'll just need to make sure that your buttons on that page are going through to your offer checkout. If you have your offer checkout in the pipeline, then you can make it the next pipeline step. So that's what that means by the action. It will go to the next step in the pipeline. So each thing sort of goes down the list one to another. So then we can go, and it will actually allow us to edit the checkout within here. So all of these things exist in Kajabi. This pipeline is just linking them all together, so you don't need to think about it, which is really cool. So we've got our registration page. That then links through when someone wants to go and sign up and registers them for this awesome webinar, which will then register, which will then take them through to this confirmation page. It's also going to create the email sequence for the webinar to send out a link to the webinar, and that is then going to go into our actual webinar room page, which is where you load up your Evergreen webinar video. And you can set the webinar up at the end to go through to your sales page. And your sales page will go through to your checkout and offer. And then your offer, ideally, if we've got this done right, will then go through to the product that you have created, so that when someone buys, la-da, they will get access to the membership. So that is the very basics of setting up an evergreen webinar in Kajabi. It's pretty cool that you can do this. And like I said, there are some other more advanced ways to set up evergreen webinars. One of the disadvantages of this is that you don't know who has or hasn't actually watched the webinar. So with your post-webinar emails, you can't be quite so specific as to email something specific to someone if they did or they didn't watch it. However, there's beauty sometimes in simplicity. When you are doing evergreen webinars and you are sending different sequences to people for the replay who did or didn't watch it, that can add a whole lot of complexity, especially if you are looking at Zapier or something like that to integrate that information and figure out who did or didn't watch it. So this is really good for something simple that you can have there without any extra cost, and it can be working for you all the time. So if you would like to know anything more about setting any of these aspects of your evergreen webinar up, please do let me know. And just to recall as well, your webinar. Let me just go back. I just want to show you where to find this because it's a little bit hidden when you go into your pipeline. So when you go into new pipeline, it's not the Zoom webinar. The Zoom webinar is a great way to do a live webinar, but this one is actually hidden down the bottom under legacy pipelines. So you want to go down to legacy pipelines and then into webinar. That's the best way to set up an evergreen webinar in Kajabi. I hope this was helpful for you. That's it. Signing off for now. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you again soon.